Today's podcast is brought to you by Inverted Gear. Go to invertedgear.com for all your jiu-jitsu gear needs. Type in the coupon code showtheART15 and save some good money. Our next sponsor is Chimera Coffee. Go to chimeracoffee.com, Chimera Coffee with a K, and purchase some of their coffee. They infuse their coffee with nootropics. They're basically things that help your brain operate faster. Google it, it'll help you out. Type in the coupon code showtheART and you will save, I think 15%, something. It's a surprise. Go, plug in showtheART coupon code, and save some money. Welcome to the show, guys. I just wanted to get a few things off my chest. Maybe review some of these fights real quick. I'm by myself. Marcos isn't here. My other friend Ames isn't here. It's just me. It's just me, raw, in the raw, brown sugar style. That raw sugar you get at Starbucks or all these other crappy coffee houses. By the way, make your own coffee at home. Check out bluebottle.com. Check out chimeracoffee.com. Check out stumptown.com. Check out all these good coffee places. Make your own coffee at home. Trust me, it's worth it. I digress. Today, I'm officially announcing that the hate is over. The hate for who, you ask? The hate for Conor McGregor. My hate for Conor McGregor is officially over today. Feels like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I never truly hated him, but I found myself nitpicking at every little thing that he did and trying to disapprove him, whatever you want to say, constantly. And I would joke about it. People would joke, but I started to notice, like, why am I judging him so much? I feel like it stemmed from him bursting on the scene with words rather than bursting on the scene with performances. And he did look very good in his performances before he bursted on the scene. Actually, a friend of mine sent me a clip of him from the organizations he fought in before UFC, and we were kind of like blown away by his abilities. But he came to the UFC and created all this buzz from his words that I was like, man, this guy has not proven anything yet. And that, I don't like that. I like martial arts. You know, I like abilities. I like people displaying their talents through their movements as opposed to their words, and convincing me through their talents as opposed to their words. And, you know, he came on the scene, he won his first fight, and then you know, he was just getting uber cocky and, you know, being super confident and letting the world know that he was the best in the world, as everybody does. But I wasn't convinced yet. As I go through the same process with everybody. I'm not convinced yet. So the UFC kept feeding him guys that were below the standard that he was making himself to be at. I mean, Dustin Poirier was a good fight for him, a very good fight for him, and he beat Dustin Poirier, and that was legit. But after that, it was just kind of like, all right, are you guys going to start feeding him good fights? And then I felt like he started to get lucky in these fights, like against Chad Mendes. He had Chad Mendes on 2 weeks' notice, and Chad was beating him until Chad gassed, and then he knocked Chad out. And I was like, oh, man, he's getting lucky. And then he fought Marcus Brimage, and he fought Dennis Siver. And I was just thinking, this guy is getting these fights. He should be fighting Frankie Edgar. He should be fighting Chad Mendes on a full boat. He should be fighting these top 5 contenders if he thinks he's qualified for a title shot. But then they gave him the title shot, which was against Aldo. That's why Chad came in 2 weeks' notice. And he beat Chad, became the interim champion, which, again, was weird that they gave it to him. But whatever, who cares? And then, you know, he did fight Aldo and knock him out in 13 seconds. Exactly. And that's when I was like, all right, he's legit. He keeps proving himself. But even the Aldo fight, I was just like, you know, that was a lucky punch, or that was going to happen to anybody that night. And it was just kind of like one thing after another. Then Nate beat him the first time in their first fight, and I was like, see, I told you. But even that, he showed a lot of great things in that fight. And then the second fight came, and it was a barn burner. It was a great match. technique went out the window when they got tired, but the strategy was still there. So they didn't look super sharp, but strategy was still there, and it was still a really good fight. And after that fight, I started to realize, all right, I need to stop nitpicking at every little thing that he does and start appreciating him for his skills and stop worrying about what he says beyond the canvas on the mic and start appreciating what happens inside the cage and what he's doing and start treating him like all the other fighters that I'm a fan of. I don't have to treat him like I'm the diehard fan that he is. You know, I'm not jumping on his love yacht like all these other people. But I'm done kind of nitpicking every little thing he does wrong, you know? The hate is over. The hate is over, people. He's undoubtedly an excellent fighter. He has holes in his game, but so does everybody. Who cares? You know, everybody's trying to get better day by day, fight by fight, so let them get better. We can't assume that everybody's going to be perfect from the jump. What he does show me is new school mixed with old school styles. New school in that he cross-trains many different martial artists and styles. He's bringing in new guys. New school in that he's now game planning, which is very important. I mean, that's how he beat Nate the second time, in my opinion. And he's adding unorthodox special weapons to his arsenal. Instead of being a specialist, he's trying to be a specialist, but add extra weapons, like the spinning kicks, like the leg kicks that he did against Nate the second fight. The footwork, it's not just flat-footed basic footwork. It's that combined with intricate angle changes and the intelligence that he has. That's all new school stuff. That's great stuff. Obviously, he's good at jiu-jitsu, and you know, he's working on that, all the ground game stuff. Old school in that he has a huge advantage in one realm of fighting over most of his competitors. The old days specialists, it was specialist versus specialist. It was boxer versus wrestler, or jiu-jitsu guy versus boxer, or kickboxer versus wrestler. And, you know, the kickboxer was just far superior at kickboxing than the wrestler was, and vice versa. And Conor is that much better at boxing than most of his competitors are at boxing. So that's how he kind of is at with old school, keeping old school in mind, which is very good to have. I think everybody should start with being a specialist at something and grow from there, because you'll have a big advantage. You just need to make sure that all the holes are plugged as best as possible. So I feel like he's a good combination of new school versus old school. Obviously, his conditioning needs work, but, you know, that's just a formula his coaches need to figure out. The formula might not be perfect yet because, let's face it, he's been finishing people before even the third round. He hasn't been going for 4 rounds, 5 rounds. So, you know, that formula needs mixing, and you can't knock him for that. Because he's been knocking people out. He's been finishing fights. Why would he even why would they even find a hole in that conditioning formula yet, you know? He hasn't gone that long where he needed to test it. So it's not that I doubted him, it's that I wasn't convinced. Each fight, I found myself making excuses as to not being convinced by his win. But how many fights does it take, how many highlights does it take for me to say, you know what, my mind has changed? So I had to do it consciously. You know, enough is enough. And I want to start appreciating people's skills, specifically him, because that's who I'm talking about, while they are still here, while he's still fighting. To start treating him like other fighters that I'm a fan of, and not care if they win or lose, and not let that sway my judgment of their fighting abilities. Just watch for the fun and the artistry of each fighter, and enjoy their performances and the matchup clashes. Appreciate it all now, and learn from what, you know, learn from what worked and didn't work from each fighter. That's what I always do. I watch these fights. That's why I'm a big fan of fighting, because I get to learn from what worked and didn't work in their strategies, what combinations worked, what takedown defenses didn't work, what jiu-jitsu works, and implement that in my own training. And that's how I grow as a fighter. And I have to be able to do that with everybody without, you know, hating on them, as they say. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Again, I'm not jumping on his bandwagon, his band yacht. You know, this guy's got money. I'm not jumping on his G5, hanging on his tail end. But I'm going to start appreciating him. Kind of like what happens to Ronda Rousey, with me at least. I was appreciating her, but not fully. And just because I was more focused on other people, and I felt like nobody was fighting Ronda the way they should. They were all getting absorbed by her greatness. And I didn't fully realize that until she lost, not because of the loss, but because she hasn't been fighting since. And now I'm like, man, I actually really want to see Ronda fight, because she actually really was great, and she just had one loss. And I need to stop hating on her greatness and start appreciating her fighting abilities and her dominance that she had. And again, before they're gone, there's a chance we may not ever see Ronda Rousey fight again. And I have to be okay with that. But I have to not make the mistake I did with her with other fighters, and that's appreciate them while they're here. Watch their fights, looking at the greatness in them, and not watch them because, I don't like what they said here, or I shouldn't care too much about people's personalities off the mic. It's a fighting sport. It's not a beauty pageant. It's not a TV show. It's a fight. So let me appreciate them for their fighting abilities. And you know what? When you stop hating on them, you start enjoying what they say a little bit more, and take it for what it is. These guys are trying to push these fights, so of course they're gonna say outlandish shit. Mike Tyson was known for that. Muhammad Ali known for that. Why do they get a pass and this guy doesn't? So, I hope this helps other people with that little hate that grows inside them, and start appreciating people for what they are before they're gone. I'm lucky that I feel like I've appreciated a guy like Anderson Silva in his prime, and really appreciated all his fights, win or lose, because he's at the tail end of his career. And hey, we might not ever see him fight again. There's a chance he will, but we might not ever see him fight again. So appreciate it while it's here. Fortunately, we might get a second chance with a guy like George St. Pierre, because he's been rumored to be coming back soon. But even that, you never know. So appreciate these fighters while they're still here. Appreciate their skills, their hard work, their abilities while it's still here, while they're still fighting. And forget about the pre-fight bullshit talk. Let them say it, but that's probably not who they truly are. Even their Instagram posts, when they're posting with this or that, or bragging about this, or calling out other people. Again, this is all a part of the business aspect, not part of the martial arts aspect. And we have to understand that if everybody acted like a true martial artist and not be braggadocious, these guys probably wouldn't make a splash in the media and make money. So in America, they kind of have to do this route. It's not by want, but by need. They have to. So you can't blame them for that. And guys that are true martial artists that are very humble, kind of like Anthony Johnson, like Anderson Silva, those type of guys. Even Daniel Cormier, just those type of guys that are humble, that try not to get absorbed by the bullshit talk. Those guys can help us appreciate the true aspect of martial arts. But let's look at it like this. In America, drama makes money. So in America, we have to appreciate them for their skills and kind of put the braggadocious trash talking in the trunk, put it in the back seat. Kind of don't take it for face value, because these guys are trying to make a dime. If somebody told you at your job at Target or at that law firm that you work at or wherever, and they said, hey, if you start bragging about how good you do at work, we'll start giving you more money, wouldn't you do it? You probably would. So let's keep it at that. And I hope you guys like our podcast. We're trying to crank out as many episodes as possible. We're trying to get you competent guests. We're also trying to get you interesting guests, not just MMA guys, not just jiu-jitsu guys or kickboxing guys or martial artists, but people from other platforms of art that are of interest, because we can learn something from everybody. And if you guys have a guest in mind or know of a guest that would fit perfectly on our podcast, please email us at info@showtheart.com. Right? Yeah. info@showtheart. Yeah. Or message us on Instagram or tag us on Instagram. Don't message us. We have too many backed up messages. We don't really read them. It's hard to follow these messages. And recommend them, please. Send us their information or tell them to email us, and I'll try to get them on as best as I can. It could be from skateboarders to photographers to sambo fighters to artists, paint artists or anything, architect, brain surgeons, anybody. Just send somebody that's got a personality, that's got some interesting things to say, that has something to educate people on, and I'd be extremely happy to consider them on the podcast. And of course, guys, if you like the podcast, please, please, please give us some good reviews, subscribe on iTunes, like us on all those different platforms like Stitcher. Give our YouTube page some love. The videos are up on there. Comment on them, or just click like. Give it a thumbs up. Even you don't have to comment, but do something to help us advance in this world and grow, because we can't do it without you guys, and we need your help. We need your support to help legitimize us more in the eyes of everybody else. Also, we are unleashing our new newsletter. It's probably just going to be once a month, but we're going to do giveaways once a month to everybody who's subscribed. You don't have to do anything, just be subscribed to our mailing list, and we're going to give away one prize each month to one random person that is a subscriber on our mailing list. That's all you have to do, just subscribe. And we're also going to be doing, that's guaranteed each month, once a month, but we're also going to be doing contests on there. So please subscribe to our newsletter and tell your friends about it. Everybody has a chance to win something fun. It might be one of our products, like a t-shirt or a tank top or a rash guard, or it might be a product from somebody else, our supporters, our sponsors, like Inverted Gear or Chimera Coffee, or somebody else. I don't know. Some days it might be a $50 gift certificate to GameStop. I have no idea yet. Everything that we're going to do is going to be also on the newsletter, all in one place. Also, we're going to have blog posts on there that you can follow, a little different from our regular blog posts. It'll just be a little special for you guys. Thank you guys, and I hope to talk to you soon. Have fun and enjoy the fights.